All right, welcome back. This is video number 2 in our series. I am assuming that you've watched the first video and that you've taken my advice and gone to my site at kisplanning.com and gone to the free tools and resources, and you downloaded the budget template and you filled it out, and you now know how much money you should have left over each month after paying your minimum expenses. Okay, so we're going off that and we're assuming that you now know how much money you have left over. So checkbox number 2. This is a subject that I'm personally very passionate about. I see the difference it makes in people's lives when they really take action on this number 2 step, which is getting out of debt. Getting out of debt, my firm is focused on helping young people, 25 to 55, with at least 10 years or 15 years, 20 years, 40 years till retirement. There's no reason why you shouldn't be getting out of debt much before retirement age so that you can save as much as possible and really set yourself up for a really promising future. So checkbox number 2 is you have a plan to get out of debt within 2 years. Okay, 2 years is probably longer than I really want you to be, but realistically, most people can get out of debt within 2 years outside of extreme circumstances. So when I say get out of debt, I'm talking about all consumer debt. So all credit cards, all car loans, any silly other loans you have, like if you took a loan to buy your couch, your TV, Best Buy credit cards, whatever it is, and that does include student loans as well. I do understand student loans are a huge problem in this country right now. Probably the biggest problem we're facing as a generation, and I think it's at $1.3 trillion at this point of debt, and that debt is not bankruptable. So it's a very serious debt. So if you're sitting here with $250,000, $300,000, $400,000 of student loan debt because you're a doctor, or you went to medical school, something like that, we may need to take a different approach. But this is assuming that most people have an amount of debt that if they focused all their efforts on, they can get it paid off in 2 years or less. Okay, so paying off debt, it seems easy, but really, before we can even start, you have to ask yourself, why are you in debt in the first place? If you have credit card debt, there's only one answer, and it's overspending. You can make excuses like, oh, I want to get the points. I got cash back. They told me it was 90 days, same as cash. Any of these excuses, at the end of the day, if you want to win and you want to be successful with your finances, you cannot win with credit card debt. There's just no way to do it, man. Or if you're sitting with a car loan and it's 15, 20%, it's going to be really hard to get ahead. So we need to get these things out of your life, okay? I want you to make a commitment to yourself today that after our conversation, you are going to commit to sitting down and putting together a plan so that you're out of debt in 2 years or less, okay? And if your income, if you feel like there's no way to do it, then you have 2 options. You spend less or you make more. There's only 2 sides to the equation. It's a very simple equation. You got your income minus your expenses equals your leftover money to save, invest, pay off debt. I mean, at the end of the day, that's really as simple. So you have 2 sides. You can either increase your income, you can decrease your expenses. It's one of those 2 things. So, if we were to sit down through one of our quick start sessions, I would help you kind of go step by step through all your expenses to see, okay, where can we cut? Where does it make the most sense? What are we willing to do to make those sacrifices? So if you need help with that, please reach out. But it's plain and simple. You've done your budget template. You need to see you have left over or how much you have left over each month. So say, for example, after paying everything, after paying all your fixed payments, your house payment, rent, whatever it may be, all your insurance, your student loans, whatever it may be, car payments, say you have $400 left over. And say you have, $40,000 in debt. Well, it's going to take you a little while to get out of debt, right? If you break it down, if you have $40,000 and you're putting $400 towards that debt, given that you will be making the minimum monthly payments, so we'll typically cover some of that, but you're looking at, somewhere around 10 months, or 100 months. So that's way too long. So we got to figure something else out that we can do to get you out of debt. Like I said, increase income or decrease expenses. Those are your only two options. So when it comes to getting out of debt, there's typically two schools of thought. And the two schools are, okay, pay the highest interest rate first because you'll get out of debt faster. Well, technically that's true, but this is the thing. The reason why you're in debt is not because you were doing math. If you were doing math, you wouldn't have taken that 18% credit card and put something on it and made the minimum payment for 10 months. You won't put yourself at risk like that. So the other way is the behavioral way. There's a lot of research that the behavioral way, while technically if you had the exact same amount of dollars coming in and you put the exact same amount of dollars towards this process, technically it would take you longer. But from my experience, and this is personal experience, I personally had to get out of debt. It's been for almost 3 years now since I've had a payment on anything, and I'll tell you, it's the best thing I've ever done for myself. But this is what worked for me. I tried to do it the mathematical way because I'm a math nerd. I just always loved math, and I thought I knew better, and I was, kind of doing 5 things at once, and it just really wasn't working for me. So I decided to take a different approach and used the behavioral way to get this done, okay? So this is how it works. You're gonna write down all of the debts that you have, okay? You're gonna list them in order from the smallest one up to the largest one, regardless of interest rate. Interest rate's not gonna matter at this point. I don't even want you to think about it, because if you get serious and you do the things I'm asking you to do, it's gonna have a very minor impact on the math anyways. So like I said, let's write them all down, largest to smallest, okay? And what you're gonna do is, say for example, you had $400 that you have left over after making all your payments. Well, you're gonna make all your minimum payments on all your debts. Then you're gonna take that extra $400 and you're gonna put that on the smallest debt, okay? So if that smallest debt is $800, you're gonna make the minimum payment plus you're gonna put $400. So it's gonna take you just under 2 months to get that first one knocked out. Then you're gonna go to the second one. Say the second one is $1,200, for example. Well, you're gonna have the payment from the first one plus your $400. So if your payment on the first one was $50, you're gonna take that $50 plus the $400 that you have extra, and you're gonna apply that on top of the minimum payment on the second debt. So yes, it's $1,200, but since you're applying the extra $50, it's gonna take you less than 3 months to knock that one out. And you're gonna continue up each debt in that order until you get to the last one. And the last one, you're just gonna put everything you have on that debt. You're gonna do everything possible to get that paid off as fast as you can. If you look at the numbers and you feel like there's no way possible that you can do this in 2 years, I want you to call me. I want you to reach out. I'll sit down with you, whether by Skype, video chat, or just by phone. We'll list them out, and I will guide you with what's reasonable on what steps you need to take on how to do this in 2 years or less. If you're going to do this in 2 years or less, I want you to focus all of your energy, everything extra, no eating out, no special shoes. You're not going to know who Steve Madden is anymore. There's going to be no Starbucks. You're going to make your coffee at home. You're going to make some sacrifices. You're going to bring your lunch every single day. If you're willing to do these things, there's a good chance in 2 years or less from now, you can be sitting here debt-free, completely unchained from payments. And if that sounds good to you, then you'll take the steps I'm recommending that you take today. And if you need help with it, please reach out. You can get a hold of me on my website at KIS, like keepitsimple.planning.com, or email me directly at jason@kisplanning.com. Have a great day. Thanks. Bye-bye.